This power supply here is part of Corsair's HX series. It's a 1200 watt unit. It comes with a fully modular design and it hits that platinum level efficiency. The box that this thing comes in is absolutely gigantic. Like, it's bigger than me. It's crazy. Once you get the package out of the box, you can see that it comes sealed from the factory. And I really like that. It tells me that nobody got this before me and like manhandled it and then returned it or something like that. They included a massive user's manual in here. Like, this thing is so thick and huge because it includes information for every power supply in the HX series from 750 all the way up to 1200 watts. And it's also multilingual. This little booklet has some safety information and also has some details about the 10-year warranty that Corsair gives you with this power supply. I think that's really good. If a company's gonna stand behind their product for 10 years, I think that's awesome. This is the main power feed cable that plugs into your wall and then into the back of the unit, and it's actually really thick and substantial, definitely thicker than what I'm used to seeing on other power supplies. This little pouch has some cable ties, a powered by Corsair badge, and a little bit of mounting hardware. It looks like there's 4 screws in there to get that attached to your case. All the modular cables are going to be inside this little nylon bag in here, and I'm just going to pull this out and put it aside because I want to get the actual power supply unit out and talk about that first. From what I can tell so far, they paid a lot of attention to the packaging. Everything's really well packed in there, and I don't think you'll have any issues with damage during shipping. So here's the power supply, and first of all, it's super heavy. Let's get this plastic off of there. This is one big power supply. It's actually 200 millimeters long. So if you're thinking of picking one of these up, make sure you double check that you've got the clearance inside your case that's gonna fit this thing. If you've got hard drive cages and all kinds of stuff down in the bottom, and you're underneath a power supply shroud with limited space, you could run into issues depending on the case that you're using. Like, this definitely wasn't designed for small and compact builds. There's a little toggle switch here on the connector panel, and that'll let you switch between single and multiple 12-volt rail mode. In single mode, the full power output's available to any of the connectors on here, and the multi-setting will limit any given cable on here to 40 amps. It's probably going to be a good idea to make your decision on whether you want single or multi before you install the power supply, just because it's probably going to be really hard to get at once you have all the cables set up and you got the unit tucked inside of a case under a power supply shroud with all the other stuff that's going on in there as well. The back panel on here is pretty standard as far as power supplies go. You've got a nice ventilated mesh to keep air flowing through. There's a gigantic toggle switch for on and off, and you've got your main power feed connector. The fan on here is 135 millimeters and it uses fluid dynamic bearings. And for a power supply in this power delivery category, like 1200 watts, 1 kilowatt plus, the noise profile actually looks really good. It's able to run in 0 RPM mode up to around 40% output, and then it starts to ramp up from there. But it tops out under 25 decibels at 100% power output. And that's quiet, especially for a power supply in the 1 kilowatt plus category. All right, now let's put this aside and start taking a look at our cables. Here's our main 24-pin power connector that'll plug into our motherboard. These are 2 8-pin CPU power cables, and the connectors do come apart, so if you need something like 8+4, you can do that with this. These are 4 8-pin PCI Express cables. There's 2 connections per cable for a total of 8, and they're in 6+2 format. There's 5 separate SATA cables here. 3 of them have straight connectors and 2 have 90-degree connectors. And there's 4 connectors per cable for a total of 20. So there's no way you're gonna run out of like power cables for drives and stuff like that. If you do, then I don't know, you must be running a server or a data center or something. These are 2 4-pin peripheral cables, and there's a total of 8 combined connectors on here. And here's the most important part, the floppy adapter. So if you got a floppy drive or anything that uses that old power connector, you can set that up on your peripheral cable and adapt it over. All these cables are black and sleeved, and I think that means they're gonna go with pretty much any system build. I kind of think black always goes with anything. It's the safe way to go. You don't usually get sick of it, and you can blend it into whatever you're doing with the color scheme in your case, even if you got lighting and stuff going on in there. So that's a good thing. The only thing I didn't really like is I was expecting these cables to be a little bit more flexible. They seem a little bit rigid, especially the 24-pin. I know it's the biggest one, but it is nice when your cables are a little bit more flexible. It just makes the cable routing and channeling and management a little bit easier. Like, this thing is really stiff, and I think it's going to be a bit of a pain to route around, but you know, it's okay. It is what it is. You can still get the build done. It just means it's going to be a little bit more work for you to get all your cables where you want them to go. So that's pretty much what we're getting here with this Corsair 1200 watt HX series power supply. If you're building a system that has power demands greater than 1 kilowatt, maybe you're a crypto miner, don't tell anybody because people get mad at that, you know, graphics card shortage and all that sort of stuff. But from what I've seen so far, this is definitely going to be a, an option that'll work. It's going to deliver 1.2 kilowatts of power, and that low noise profile, I think, makes it pretty attractive. MSRP is around $300, which sounds like a lot, but I think you can expect to pay that kind of money for a power supply in this category. You're looking at 1200 watts of output power and platinum certification for the efficiency rating. All that stuff doesn't come cheap, and there's actually power supplies in this tier that cost quite a bit more. So I don't know, at the end of the day, maybe this one's a deal. One thing I will say is it does go on sale from time to time because it's been out on the market for a while, so definitely look out for deals. Purchasing links, specs, details, all that stuff, it's gonna be down in the description. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you get subscribed for more, and we'll see you soon.